Every night before bed, I'd whisper weather reports to the spiders and mice in my room. I genuinely believed that if I told them how nice it was outside, they'd leave and wouldn't bite me in my sleep. I'd crouch down near the baseboards where I'd seen them scurrying, speaking in what I thought was a calm, persuasive voice. "It's really beautiful out there tonight," I'd say softly. "Warm breeze, clear skies, perfect for exploring." I was convinced they understood every word, that they were just waiting for the right conditions to relocate. Looking back, I was basically giving the wildlife forecast to an audience that definitely wasn't listening, but in my mind, this nightly ritual was the only thing standing between me and certain doom. The fear was so real to me. I'd lie awake after my weather briefings, listening to every tiny scratch and scurry, wondering if my meteorological updates had been convincing enough. Sometimes I'd add extra details, describing the moon or mentioning how the garden was particularly lush. I thought specificity would help. It never occurred to me that these creatures had lived in walls and dark spaces for generations and had absolutely no interest in my commentary about outdoor conditions. I also used to host imaginary science shows in my bedroom, complete with an invisible camera crew and a studio audience that hung on my every word. I take questions from my fake viewers and answer them with complete confidence, never doubting my own expertise for a second. I once explained with absolute certainty that glass lets air pass through it, and that's why we don't suffocate when all the doors and windows are closed. Young me had zero understanding of how ventilation actually worked, but that didn't stop me from being the world's worst science teacher. I gestured dramatically at my bedroom window, explaining how the air molecules slipped right through the glass like it was some kind of invisible filter. My imaginary audience would applaud, and I'd take a bow, feeling like I'd just solved one of life's great mysteries. Then there were my bathroom experiments, which I conducted with the dedication of a mad scientist. I locked myself in, plugged the sink, and mixed every cleaning chemical, shampoo, and soap I could find under the cabinet. The bottles would line up like ingredients in some grand recipe, and I'd pour carefully, watching the colors swirl together. I was waiting for some dramatic reaction, like I was going to discover something groundbreaking, maybe even win a Nobel Prize. Never happened. The mixtures would just sit there, occasionally getting foamy or changing to a murky brown color. But I kept trying, completely unaware that I could have accidentally created a toxic gas cloud and taken myself out. My parents never knew about these experiments, and honestly, it's probably better that way. I cringe now thinking about what could have gone wrong. And when my sister Emma was mean to me, which felt like constantly back then, I had a revenge system that I thought was absolutely brilliant. I'd steal her stuff, hair clips, bracelets, small toys, and sewed inside her stuffed animals. I taught myself basic stitching just for this purpose, carefully opening seams and hiding the evidence before stitching everything back up. She'd be looking everywhere for a missing bracelet, tearing apart her room, checking under furniture, accusing me directly, while Mr. Fluffkins sat there on her bed, literally stuffed with evidence, looking innocent and fluffy. I never told her. Even when she'd cry about losing something special, I'd keep quiet, feeling both guilty and triumphant. Those stuffed animals became like tiny treasure chests of my petty childhood revenge. The weird thing is I thought all of this was completely normal. I assumed every kid talked to bugs about the weather, hosted fake educational programs, conducted dangerous chemical experiments, and turned stuffed animals into evidence lockers. It wasn't until years later, sharing these stories with friends, that I realized just how strange my childhood logic actually was.